Hello and thanks for joining us this week on the Bison Basketball Show. I'm Brian Shawn. The end of the regular season is in sight for the North Dakota State men and women, with the conference tournament less than a month away. The Bison men hit the road for a two-game trip, looking to get back on track after a tough homestand, starting with Oral Roberts. The Bison beat the Golden Eagles in Fargo by 18 last month, but this one would be tight all the way. Baskets tough to come by in this contest. Spencer Eliason able to find Tyson Ward underneath all alone for the lay-in. Later in the half, Eliason getting on the offensive glass and setting up Jared Samuelson for the open three. Samuelson a pair of first-half triples as the Bison grabbed their largest lead of the night. ORU would make a late first-half charge. Freshman R.J. Fuqua with the drive and off-balanced layup plus the foul to trim the lead to one. Paul Miller hit just one three-point attempt on the night. Late in the first half, lining up and drilling the long jumper. Miller had 15 points, and NDSU led it 32-30 going into the locker room. Ward would hit a couple of tough baskets in the second half, two on another lay-in inside. As he collects and scores, he scored 15 off the bench. With under 4 minutes to go, A.J. Jacobson would spin inside and hit the tough lay-in through traffic. He had a team-high 16 points as North Dakota State takes a 3-point lead. But with the Golden Eagles down 2 with 30 seconds to go, Emmanuel Nezekwezi going to work in the paint and getting it to go. He scored 10 points, and it's tied at 61. The Bison a chance to win it in regulation. Cameron Hunter out to Jacobson for the win, but it's off the mark, and NDSU would play its first overtime game of the season. Neither team would score for nearly 3 minutes in OT, but in crunch time, Hunter out to Ward, and he knocks down his third three of the game as the Bison take a 2-point lead with under 3 seconds left. But ORU would win it in dramatic fashion as Austin Reuter somehow gets the fadeaway three at the buzzer to fall, his 6th triple of the night, as the Golden Eagles win it 67-66. The Bison shot just 32% in the game and were outscored 36-12 in the paint. NDSU would finish up its road trip in Denver on Saturday in another close, low-scoring contest. Daniel Amigo a hot start for the Pios, scoring 12 of his 19 points in the first half, including this steal and slam on the other end for a 2-point lead. Tyson Ward had half of North Dakota State's points in the opening 20 minutes, including a pair of threes, as they shot just 32% to start. Joe Rosga would extend the Denver lead before half, knocking down the triple off the ball rotation. The Pioneers led it 31-24 going into the locker room. The Bison would trim the lead to 2 early in the second half. Paul Miller held scoreless until this sweeping layup to get things going. Then Rocky Cruiser, the cross-court pass to Ward, who drives in for another big finish. He scored a career-high 28 points to go along with 7 rebounds. The Pioneers would answer with a 9-0 run as Rosga buries another triple. He had 5 threes and a team-high 26 points as Denver takes a 12-point lead with 6 minutes to go. NDSU would trim the lead to 3 in the final minutes, but Paul Miller's turnaround jumper would rattle out. The Bison would miss a couple of long threes to tie it in the final seconds, and the Pios hang on 66-63. North Dakota State out-rebounded Denver 20-12 in the second half, but shot just 6 of 23 from long range in the game. The Bison men returned home to host Mayville State and wore t-shirts to honor 10-year-old Landon Solberg, who is battling brain cancer. NDSU taking the early lead. Dengu, the acrobatic shot inside for 2 plus the foul. He finished with 8 points and 5 rebounds, but the night belonged to sophomore Jared Samuelson, who was dialed in from long distance all night. His 4th three-pointer of the evening helped the Bison build a 13-point lead at halftime. In the second half, Samuelson continues to roll, knocking down another long triple as the shot clock winds down. With under 7 minutes to go, he would hit his 9th three of the night, breaking an NDSU single-game record previously held by Lawrence Alexander as NDSU rolls 87-53, snapping a 4-game losing streak as Samuelson goes for a career-high 32 points.
I got a lot of threes from my teammates. A lot of people set me up tonight. It wasn't obviously just me. Tyson, Cameron, Dang had a couple too. Just everybody set me up. Just got me open looks. It's kind of crazy to think about. I don't really think about records too much. I'm just happy we got the win.
NDSU will host Fort Wayne for its final regular season game of the season on Saturday afternoon. A team one game ahead of the Bison in the Summit League standings. Stay with us. After the break, we sit down with head coach Dave Richman to get his thoughts from the Nodak Insurance Company practice facility.
The Bison Basketball Show on Midco Sports Network is presented by Nodak Insurance Company, Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, and Proceed.
All right, here in the Nodak Insurance Company practice facility with NDSU men's coach Dave Richman. And Coach, first of all, before we get into anything else basketball related, notice the shirt you're wearing, that you're wearing for the Mayville State game to support Landon Solberg, a young man that you've come to know very, very well, who is battling a rare form of brain cancer. And that was really a special night, I think, having all your team and players participate and really show support to him and his family.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing it up. Landon's very special. You hear some stories nationally and you just hear them. With Landon, he literally lives right across the street from us, and so this is something that we're living, with their family. Obviously not, to the extent that they are, but Landon's a terrific young man, 10-year-old fourth grader, in the same grade as my daughter, and you just watch him ride bike with the girls and make sure they get across the street. He does so well in the classroom. So, certainly he doesn't deserve this, but his mindset, his approach to this, and how he's battling and how he's attacking it day to day is something just special to witness. And if we can do something like this to bring light to Landon's situation, we're going to do it and put a smile on his face. But he has no idea the impact he's having on myself and our group, and that's why this is a special win-win, two-way street, hopefully. And
maybe helps keep things in perspective, Dave, because it hasn't been the easiest couple of weeks, I know, for your program. You've had two really good opportunities on the road last week. One was a fluke shot, another one an opportunity to win it late. But adversity builds character. I know you say that a lot, Dave, and it kind of reveals who's up to the challenge and who isn't.
Yeah, it really does. And Landon provides some perspective, but at the very end of the day, too, we need to get back to winning some games. And we can trick ourselves and talk about how close we are and what didn't go right and if we just would have done this or that. But at the very end of the day, if you don't look yourself in the mirror and figure out what little bit more you can do better, then we're just going to end up just a close team and not going to finish the way we want. So we had a good week. We've had some good meetings and some great talk and heard some great things. Now it's about our guys going and taking action for the next three conference, regular season games, and hopefully building that confidence into the conference tournament. We've proven that we're capable of anything. We have. And I've been on teams that aren't, but this group has. They stick together, they believe in one another, and so anything's possible, but it's only possible if we understand the little things that we got to continue to do and do better.
Hard to believe, Dave, we're at the last regular season home game, last home game at all, and this is the last time Paul Miller, A.J. Jacobson, and now Spencer Eliason is going to put on the Bison uniform at the Shack. Does it get emotional? Does it get tough? And how do you prepare for that as a coach?
It really does, and it's funny. Just towards the end of this Mayville State game, it hit me with AJ's running around out there and Spencer and Paul are on the bench. But, those three guys have had a tremendous impact on this program. Selfishly, they've had a tremendous impact on me. And so, they mean a lot. You see a lot. They've had a lot of success on the court, and that's what the public sees. For me, it's the moment behind the scenes from, and this group is even more special for me. Every single game that I've coached, they've been there. And this is, my fourth year. This is their fourth year in the program. So, a lot of ties, a lot of things to reflect on, but more importantly, hopefully myself and the other 11 guys and on the team and within the staff can do our job to send them out the right way, not just Saturday, but even going forward the next 3 weeks.
Real quickly, Dave, biggest thing you'd like to see improvement on before the season wraps up?
Honestly, Brian, it just goes back to the consistency. If you look at our numbers, we're 2 or 3 possessions away. And can we maintain consistency? Can we maintain the focus? Can we just come up with 1 or 2 more loose balls to push us over the edge? Because that's all it is. But those things aren't just going to happen. We have to go out and make them happen.
All right, Dave, thanks as always for the time, and good luck against Fort Wayne Saturday.
Appreciate it, Brian. Thank you.
All right, stay with us here on the Bison Basketball Show. Maren Walseth and company also had a busy weekend this past weekend. We'll recap that and check in with Coach Walseth after this. Welcome back. The North Dakota State women's basketball team had a chance to climb up the Summit League standings, hosting a pair of teams directly in front of them in the conference race. The homestand starting with Oral Roberts. The Bison looking to beat Oral Roberts for the first time in over 3 years. And off to a great start, opening with a 12-0 run. Autumn Ogden remaining in the starting lineup, active early, aggressive drive to the basket for 2, but played only 17 minutes due to foul trouble. Riley Jacobson had a career-high 14 rebounds in the contest. The offensive board and putback here, Tyra Spencer made the start for the injured Marina Fernandez and scored a season-high 10 points, 2 on this drive. NDSU up 29-21. But ORU finishes the half on an 11-3 run to pull back within a point. Maria Martinez with the 3 just before halftime. North Dakota State led 33-32 after the first 20 minutes. It was a low-scoring third quarter for both teams. The Bison scoring just 7, 3 of them on this shot from Riley Nudell. She also scored 10 points. Early in the fourth quarter, the Bison back within 1 after Sarah Jacobson finishes inside for the lay-in. But Faith Iham scored 9 straight for the Golden Eagles to push the lead to double digits. Iham had 17 points and 14 rebounds as ORU holds on in a low-scoring contest, 64-57. The Bison out-rebounded Oral Roberts 40-31, but shot just 29% in the second half. On Saturday, North Dakota State played host to Denver in the Play 4K Pink game that had 15 lead changes. Riley Jacobson led NDSU with 18 points on 7 of 10 shooting. This drive inside gave the Bison the lead late in the first quarter. The Pioneers would go up 9 with 3 minutes left in the half, but the Bison make a late run, Sarah Jacobson knocking down one of her 3 3-point field goals to trim the lead. Then, with under 10 seconds left in the half, Riley Nudell getting the friendly roll from outside the arc. Denver led it 36-33 going into the locker room thanks to 9 offensive rebounds. The Bison grabbed the lead late in the third quarter as Tyra Spencer hits the layup plus the foul for a 3-point play. It's a 1-point game going into the fourth quarter. Senior Taylor Thunstead would score 6 straight points in the fourth as she collects the ball with bodies on the floor and able to muscle it up for 2 and the lead. But the Pioneers got 9 points in crunch time from Brianna Johnson. With under a minute to go, the sophomore able to hit the tough lay-in with the right hand for a 4-point lead. And Denver picks up the victory 78-73. The Bison shot 50% from the field in the loss, but were out-rebounded 38-24 and turned it over 18 times.
We just have to clean up a few little things. Rebounding, that's been an issue, but then it's either turning the ball over or not shooting very well. So we just all need to play a complete game to hopefully get a win here soon.
A lot of those turnovers are things that we can control, and so that's just like the frustrating part when we're not finishing out these close games, because it's all things that we have control over in the end.
We now welcome in Maren Walseth, the NDSU women's basketball coach, to talk about the Bison women's past 2 games at home this last week against Oral Roberts and Denver. 2 games that going into the fourth quarter could have gone either way, Maren. I know you will look back at it and say, hey, we had a lot of positive things to look at to get into that situation, but just got to find a way to close those games, right?
Absolutely, and it's called figuring out a way to win and learning how to win, and that's where our program is still developing and growing. But as you said, going into both fourth quarters, lots of positives and things that we can learn from.
Saturday was the Play 4K Pink game. I know that's something you've really been trying to get going, and you did. You donated some money for every 3-pointer made. You had some other businesses join in on that. I'm guessing that's always a special one, especially with the uniforms, the pink shirts, all that stuff.
Absolutely, and what we talk about with our players, it's something bigger than just ourselves, and being able to honor breast cancer survivors and current fighters at halftime is very, very special to us. We also wore T-shirts that had significant family members or friends' names on the back. Again, it's bigger than just a basketball game, and it's bigger than just our players.
Absolutely. You had mentioned after the Oral Roberts game, you know, we've been so close and we're working so hard, and I am seeing the improvements daily. We're just not getting the victories right now. That's one of those things, though, I think you're encouraged that your players have not quit yet in a game. Like, they're continuing to work and play hard and try to improve and try to get over that hump here with a few games to go in the regular season.
I think what you're talking about is resilience. Our group is extremely resilient. They have not given up. The fight is still there. The encouragement that they give me to continue my job is still very much there, and that makes it fun to go to work every day.
Absolutely. An entire week off to get ready for your next game against Fort Wayne, a team that you have beaten in league. What do you spend time doing this week now with the extra week? Because you have this week, then you have 2 games the following week, and then you have another week until the conference tournament. So you have a chance to maybe get some practices in here and work on some things specifically.
Absolutely. This last weekend, we were actually able to give them an extra day off. Riley Newdell, Riley Jacobson, Sarah Jacobson, they're playing extended minutes for us right now at a very high level. And so being able to get some rest for them, get some additional treatment in for them, and then also spend some time working on ourselves. When there's only one scout, you're able to really focus and identify and work on things that maybe get overlooked in the preparation week after week. So being able to focus and tweak a few things for ourselves is always important.
I guess it's nice to have this to be that it's the last road game. Last road trip. After this, it's pretty much all home and then a bus trip down to Sioux Falls, and that's it.
Yes, it means that the season is coming to an end here relatively soon, but at the same time, it's always good knowing that you're playing your best basketball as the season progresses at the end of February, and we're certainly on that trajectory.
All right, good luck in Fort Wayne this weekend, Maren.
Thank you.
All right, stay with us here on the Bison Basketball Show. One of the newcomers to the Bison women's hoop squad, Marina Fernandez, is making an impact in her junior season. We'll have a one-on-one with her coming up next. Welcome back. For many student athletes, making the transition to college takes some time. Getting used to the schedule, practices, and academics is a lot to take in. Now imagine moving over 4,000 miles away from home to go to school and learn a new language. Forward Marina Fernandez is overcoming all those challenges and learning some other lessons along the way. This week we go one-on-one with the junior from Barcelona, Spain. All right, back for another edition of One-on-One. We are joined by Marina Fernandez, one of the new additions to the NDSU women's basketball team this year. And Marina, coming from Casper College in Wyoming via Barcelona, Spain. So you're quite the world traveler here, Marina. What's it been like to go from one extreme to another extreme to another extreme here to play college basketball?
It's quite a change for me, In Spain, we have a different style of playing basketball and we have a different culture. So when I came to Casper, I was like, wow, it's a big change. I come from a big city and Casper is pretty small and the weather is not my favorite. So it was quite a change, but I felt really welcome from day one, so it was not that hard to adapt.
So you went to Casper and you're trying to learn a new language, you're trying to adapt to a different style of basketball. How tough was that your first couple of years?
That was tough at the beginning. It was pretty overwhelming because it was just, I had no one to translate from English to Spanish, so it was just me and I had to deal with it. And at the beginning I just had a big headache just because I was like, I cannot do this, I can't. And at the end at night I was just out, mental wise it was just exhausting, but you get used to it.
And you go from one cold weather climate to another cold weather climate here in Fargo. What was it that brought you to North Dakota State? What was it that attracted you here?
The coaches made me feel really comfortable during my visit, and all my teammates were awesome too during my visit. So I just didn't have in mind just the weather, I just felt comfortable and I thought that was the right place for me. So I just came here and experienced the weather. And
here you are. Now you're a Bison of all things, right? Your game a little bit, when you talk about coming from, an international style of play, the European style of play, it is different. It's more of, I don't know if you want to call it what the word necessarily is, but it is different. It's definitely different. What is the physicality maybe not as significant there as it is here?
Yeah, the physicality is probably the main difference between European style of basketball and the American one. So during my freshman year, I had a really tough time just having to be aggressive and physical, but at the end you just have to get through it. I mean, you want to play, so you just have to change your mind and just go at it. And
when I'm guarding you too, Marina, the one thing that you have the advantage of as a female that can handle the basketball is you're pretty tall for a 3. So does that help your vision when you're looking around the court a little bit to be able to see kind of where everybody is, especially when you're driving and doing all those things?
Yeah, sometimes it's just easier for me when I have a little guard on me, so when I have the ball, I can just see the whole court. So the vision is just pretty easy for me. Sometimes it's harder when someone's taller than me, but I have pretty long arms, so I can,
get around me.
Yeah.
So away from basketball, what else did you grow up doing in Barcelona? What are some other hobbies of yours that you do when you get out of the gym a little bit?
I usually go to the city, like center of the city. There are a lot of things to do, you know. I like to go to the beach. I love the beach. So I do that when the weather's decent. I go just around the city. I go shopping a lot with my friends, or just go for a walk. You know, the weather's nice, so you can just go around and we have a lot of monuments too. So sometimes it's just nice to enjoy where you're from.
All right, Marina. Well, we appreciate the time. Thank you. We're glad to have you here in Fargo.
You're
and enjoy
welcome.
this cold weather.
Yeah, you too.
That's Marina Fernandez, one-on-one. Fernandez has made 22 starts for the Bison this season, but missed the past couple of games with an ankle injury. We're back to get you ready for the weekend ahead after this timeout.
The Bison Basketball Show on Midco Sports Network is presented by NODAC Insurance Company, Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, and Proceed.
Just a handful of games left in Fargo this season before heading to Sioux Falls for the conference tournament. The Bison men will play their final home game on Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. against Fort Wayne. Coverage on Midco Sports Network begins at 2 p.m. The Bison women's only contest of the week is in Fort Wayne as they look for a sweep of the Mastodons. Tip-off is set for 5 p.m. Central in Indiana on Thursday night. We'll recap both contests next week as we get ready for the final games of the regular season next week on the Bison Basketball Show. See you next time.